I was SA by my wife twin sister. Hello Reddit eyes here. I never thought my life could take such a chaotic turn. I'm Linden, 24, happily, or so I thought. Married to Bridgett, the love of my life. But what just happened has my world spinning, and I don't know how to stop it. Bridgett and her twin sister Sandra have always been eerily close. To the outside world it might seem normal for identical twins, but they were inseparable. Same hair, same style, same everything. I didn't mind it at first. I mean, why would I? Bridgett was perfect for me. Beautiful, funny, smart. And Sandra was just the crude, sassier version of her. Two peas in a pod, but Bridgett was my pea. We married fast, one of those whirlwind romances that hit you before you even realize it. 8 months later we were saying vows in a courthouse and Bridgett moved into my house. Things were great until that night. It started with a house party. Just a few friends, some drinks, and as usual Sandra stayed over. No big deal. She always stayed over when they drank. It was routine, but that night I drank too much, and as the party died down, I told Bridgett I was going to bed. A simple, blurry goodnight. She said Sandra would stay over, as always, and that they might watch a movie together. I crashed hard on the bed, but moments later, Bridgett, or who I thought was Bridgett, came in. She stripped down and crawled into bed. It didn't take long before we were intimate. Twice, actually, before morning came. When I woke up later, everything seemed normal. Sandra was gone, and Bridgett acted like nothing unusual happened. I didn't even question it. Fast forward to today, and that's when my life shattered into pieces. Sandra called me over to her new apartment to help with some shelves, but when I arrived, she had no shelves in sight. Instead, she handed me a pregnancy test. "Congratulations," I said, confused. "Does Bridgett know?" She looked at me, her eyes wide and heavy with something much darker than joy. "Number I haven't told her." "You needed to know first." And then it hit me. The chill that crawled up my spine. The words that would destroy everything. "You're the father from the party." My world froze. I blinked at her, the room closing in. "What are you talking about? That was Bridgett." My heart pounded in my chest like it was about to explode. Sandra smirked, as if I had missed something obvious. "You didn't seem to mind it was me." I was ready to scream. "I thought you were Bridgett. How could you do this? You've ruined everything." Sandra started defending herself, telling me I had been flirting with her, that she thought I wanted it. I was too angry, too shocked to listen. I stormed out of her apartment, words echoing in my head like a nightmare. "You've ruined everything." Back at home, I was ready to tell Bridgett everything. She had to know. There was no going back from this. But when I walked in, Bridgett was waiting for me, eyes sparkling with excitement. I froze. She had news. "You're going to be a daddy," she said, beaming, as she handed me a pregnancy test. My heart shattered. How could I tell her what Sandra did? How could I destroy this moment? I put on my best fake smile and hugged her, congratulating her with all the love I could muster. But inside, I was dying. I couldn't let this secret fester. Tomorrow, I'd tell her. I'd tell her everything. The next morning, I woke up with a knot in my stomach. Bridgett was still glowing from the news of our baby. I couldn't bear it any longer. I had to tell her. I sat her down, hands trembling. "Bridgett, something happened. Something horrible." Her smile faded as I told her everything. Every detail about that night, Sandra's confession, and the possibility that I might be the father of her twin sister's child. Bridgett sat in silence, tears streaming down her face, but not in anger. Only sadness. How could she do this? Bridgett whispered, heartbroken. We both sat in the stillness, holding each other as the weight of Sandra's betrayal sunk in. I expected rage, fury, but Bridgett was calm, strong. She called Sandra over, demanding the truth. When Sandra arrived, the air was thick with tension, and what followed was a confrontation I'll never forget. "Sandra, how could you?" Bridgett asked, voice trembling but steady. Sandra tried to justify it, but there was no excuse. She had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Bridgett made it clear. Sandra was no longer welcome in our lives. It was painful but necessary. We couldn't allow her deceit to poison our family. As for the pregnancy, Bridgett insisted we get a paternity test, and a few weeks later, the results came in. I wasn't the father. Sandra's manipulation had been all for nothing. Bridgett and I worked through the pain piece by piece. Therapy helped, as did the love we still had for each other. The arrival of our baby brought us closer than ever, reminding us of what truly mattered. Sandra faded into the background, choosing to move away and start fresh, while Bridgett and I rebuilt our life on trust, love, and forgiveness. The road wasn't easy, but we made it. Together.